Hello, everyone. My name is Jay Monty, lead swing trader and founder of Trader Nerds. Today, we're going to talk about the stock of the month for May. It's our first beta member. Well, talking about Trader Nerds out loud on social media, an old college friend reached out to me. I haven't spoken to him in 15 years, as after school, he moved to the Midwest area. But he reached out to me. He's like, Jason, if I saw something like this, I would think it's some sort of scam or something. But because it's you, I had to call you, and I want to know what your magic formula is and so forth. Well, first of all, it's not my magic formula. It's Mr. Joe Majocha's. He's wrote the book, The Art of the Chart. I really just found a way to automate the cumbersome research of swing trading, which made things a lot easier. With the Nerd Radar dashboard, it analyzes over 1,500 stocks. And now with also a new alert system that now gives me an email notification once a stock has hit the 6for6 conviction score, which is fantastic. It made our life a lot easier. But let's go back to our first beta member, Steve, and how it came about. We spoke towards the end of April, and we caught up, spoke for a couple hours, and I gave him the book, The Art of the Chart, written by Joe Majocha. I told him to read it. And when you're done with it, let me know and we'll talk some more. And so he messaged me. He's like, Jason, a week and a half later, I'm all done reading the book. Can we meet up and talk? And I was like, absolutely, let's talk about it. That was on May 6th. Why do I know May 6th? Is the first day that the alert system was created. Steve and I coincidentally ended up talking about a couple hours after I started getting my first alerts. So I show him the alerts. And he's like, what stock would you pick? And I'm like, well, you pick one, Steve. And he's like, well, I'll pick Crowd. And I'm like, okay, well, let's look at the numbers. We went to the CrowdStrike numbers. Let me show you the trading view chart for CrowdStrike. So as you can see here, this is a stock starting in February, right here in February. This got a nice baseline here. It's nice, a long baseline. And it's consistent. It's got a nice long channel. And what do you see here? Well, on April 22nd right here is the first breakout alert. You can see the star. But remember, we talked on May 6th. May 5th and 6th. Right here is May 6th. A down day here in the red. But with 3 breakout alerts, still the price being relatively the same, I thought it was going to be a good hit. I thought it'd be a good option. All 6 conviction scores were hitting. I'm like, that would be a good stock to buy. He bought it at 463. So right around here, he bought it at the low point. I personally did not buy this one because I was going on vacation in the month of May. And there's a lot of school holidays in Switzerland, actually, in the month of May. So I did not buy it, but he did. And I'm like, well, let me know. Keep me updated. That was that. A couple of weeks go by. I hadn't talked to him. He hasn't talked to me, but he reached out to me. Well, let's fast forward the chart a little bit. We'll fast forward the chart, as you can see here, and what it looks like. So with the chart here, May 6th, again, is right here. And he bought it. He just kept holding it and holding it and holding it some more. There was only 2 minor down days. You can call that relatively even. And then he reached out to me. I believe it was May 29th. Hey, Jason, what should I do? I'm not a financial advisor, so I can't give you advice. But something like this, you got to be careful the earnings date. As you can see in the bottom here, the earnings date. The earnings date is right here. You can see that E pop up. You really got to be careful during earnings date. Why? Because there's a price gap. What is a price gap? It means during the after hours, the market of that particular stock can go up or go down. And even if you have a stop loss, which the Trader Nerds set stop loss shield, for me, it's mandatory. Immediately after I buy a stock, I immediately go to the stop loss. I put 7 trailing stop loss, and I make sure that at least I protect some of my earnings. What happens in a stop loss? If there's a price gap, just pretend it's not even there. So if a stock goes down 10% in the middle of the night, you're going to lose that 10%. You're not going to lose a sell that you had placed there. So you just got to be careful for that. So how do you prevent that? About 2 days to a week before the stock goes in the earnings, you got to start being careful, along with a major competitor's stock as well. So for example, CrowdStrike and or the major competitor for CrowdStrike, if they have an earnings call a couple of days before, I would even be careful of that. So here it is, a couple of days before. He calls me up. He realized the price earnings ratio for CrowdStrike was, he's like, Jason, I think I want to sell all of it. So do whatever you're comfortable with. You made good winnings for sure. He bought it at 463 and it went up to, and he sold it just under $700. That's a 50% jump that he got. Not too shabby for his first trade. An absolute grand slam at his first major league at bat at swing trading. That's what I called it. What I have done differently, I probably would have waited a little bit longer. Seeing these 3 volume bars here, there was more institutional buying these 3 days, but I would have definitely sold 50% of my stocks around that price. So let's say somewhere between 734 and 785, let's say 750. I would have probably sold 50% of my winnings around 750 just to lock in my profits. That simple. And then I would let the other 50% ride. And what would have happened in that case? It would have sold automatically on the opening bell on June 4th at 684. So whether he sold all his positions at 700, I would have sold half my positions at 750 and the other half at, 675, give or take. Let's call it even. I made a little bit more, but hey, not too shabby. Who would want to take a 50% or 40% increase in your first trade as a swing trader? So first and foremost, just like I talked to him about it, Jason, but what about the capital gains tax on that? Yeah, well, that's a pretty good capital gains chunk. I personally, when I swing trade, I would say 90% of the time I use my Roth accounts to avoid the capital gains. And the other 10%, I just keep track of it. Keep track of it. Keep track of it. I have a separate spreadsheet that keeps track of all my gains and losses that I use in particular for the cash accounts, because when people get upset at taxes, because they come surprised most of the time. And I'm not surprised when I have to pay a certain percentage of capital gains tax. I just look at my spreadsheet. I keep track of it. And then you look at your tax rate and you go from there. Sometimes my wife will be like, hey, how can we pay this much in taxes? And then I have to show her the spreadsheet. I'm like, wait, but I made this much and we're only spending this much. And then she feels better. The reason why people get upset at capital gains tax is because they get surprised. I think that's the first and foremost. So this is my stock of the month of May. I'm just showing this because this was my first consultation person. Again, I cannot give financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Just catching up with some old friends, talking about data and trader nerds. And this is what we came up with. And he did very well on his first trade. If you want to join Trader Nerds and maybe have a story like this, again, I do not guarantee this big jump that he had. We'll call it beginner's luck. But if you want to learn more, please put nerd down in the comments. That'd be greatly appreciated. We can tell you more about when the beta members start opening up. Thank you very much.